Okay, I wanted to make a short comment on this exhibition match between Novak Djokovic and Dominic Thiem in Kooyong in advance of the Australian Open. It's a warm-up match. It's Novak Djokovic's first match since his return. He's now returning to the game of tennis after many, many months. And having looked at the match, and I'm going to look at it in more detail later and get back to you with more thoughts and comments, but this is the upshot. Novak Djokovic is looking to be in very fine form, and Dominic Thiem is no slouch, and he can put up quite a contest when he wants to. And he made some errors, but he was doing okay today. Listen, Djokovic dominated. As I've told you in previous videos, am a die-hard Roger Federer fan. I love Roger Federer. I'm also a big lover just of the game of tennis. And here is one reality about the game of tennis. And it applies to a lot of sports, but particularly to tennis, because it's a one-on-one thing. And it's a psychological game. And your psychological state coming into these tournaments as a player is very, very important. And also just the emotional psychological state that a player is in as they come into these tournaments is equally as important as their physical training and sort of shot making prowess, etc. But here is the thing about the Novak Djokovic return today, and his serve was he looked good. And here's the thing: Djokovic has something to prove. Djokovic has something to prove, and he can rise to that challenge. He is a phenomenal athlete. He's one of the greatest, and I made the prediction a few days ago, I think it was just yesterday, that Novak Djokovic, and it's not a controversial prediction, Novak Djokovic will win more Grand Slams, and that's a plural. He will win more than one. And he is going to challenge very strongly at the Australian Open, quite possibly, if he can stay out of a relapse into some kind of injury. But and I think with him it was the wrist, or maybe it was the elbow. He looks good, and he has something to prove. The press want to see him now. He's not a press darling general. When he was all over the place, playing every tournament, which is what he used to do. Federer always gets the better of these opponents in terms of just being the press dog. I mean, everybody loves Roger Federer. It's something about his personality and etc. But Djokovic is a different kind of personality. But he's got to my mind, I mean, Nadal, if you're going to rank Federer, Djokovic, and Nadal in terms of their likability and their personality, actually Djokovic is a fairly close second behind Federer, and then Nadal, of course, has it's got kind of he's got a fine personality. It's just not a real friendly, likable kind of personality. But Djokovic actually really has that. I mean, in some ways, it's more than Federer. He's kind of that gregarious sort of guy. And he'll carry on conversations on the court, and he's very casual with, even when he's in his most, competitive, and he's serious and casual at the same time, it seems. It's weird with him. But the press is all over him. He's got a lot of attention, he's got the limelight, and he's got something to prove. And that's what Federer and Nadal don't quite have. They're riding a wave. People are already marveling about Roger Federer. I mean, he's already made his comeback. So Djokovic has that psychological thing, and that's what these players do. They rise to the great ones. They rise to the challenge. And if they have something to prove, like Djokovic does, he could do great things. I see him advancing quite far in the Australian Open, folks, and God forbid, that Federer is taken down by Djokovic, but there's a historical basis for it, and it could happen. If it does happen, I believe Federer will have to adjust his game and come back and will figure out the new Djokovic, and we might just see a new Djokovic again. I'll have more details on that later, but for now, Djokovic versus Thiem demonstrates that Djokovic is back, and he is a force to be reckoned with. I'm very excited for the Australian Open. It's going to be a very, very exciting tournament with Djokovic. We got Wawrinka, who seems to be feeling good. Murray, tournaments don't rise or fall on Andy Murray. But this is going to be great, and I am so very much anticipating seeing how and if Novak Djokovic can rise to this challenge. My thoughts, prayers, wishes, hopes are behind Roger Federer for a number of reasons. I'm a Federer fan, but like I said with Nadal, I appreciate the genius of Novak Djokovic, and I also appreciate his very likable personality, but he's got something to prove. Federer and Nadal are riding a wave. They've already proved themselves, so there might be a psychological advantage that Djokovic has. More on this later. Bye.